Today's video is that largely unknown and insignificant release and game series, the Nathan Drake trilogy Uncharted. If you haven't heard of this game, it's not unsurprising. It's a largely unknown release on the PS3, released by Naughty Dog. You may have heard of those over the last few years on the PS3, and allegedly they're making a new game on the PS4. Who'd have thought it? Yeah, I can't keep that going for long. No, of course, Nathan Drake Collection is a huge game this year and one of the biggest remasters to hit any of these machines over the last couple of years, and not something to be sniffed at. What I got to play at EGX was a demo of the Uncharted 2 game, and it was Chapter 5, but it was a different section to what's been made available on the PSN store. So if you don't want to listen to me blather on about the game, then please jump on your PS4, download that, and give it a try before the game hits next week. Now, outside of that, what did we play? Well, the version that was shown at EGX, as you can see here, is the PS3 version. The demo that's been released on PSN is slightly further on in the same chapter, but allows you to have a journey on the escalator and obviously appreciate all of the fine views on offer. But anyway, yeah, back to the matter in hand. Playing this against the PS3 version, the changes obviously are significant. The single biggest one obviously is the frame rate, now jumping up from 30 FPS up to the now standard and much lauded 60 FPS rate, and this adds a fine level of control to the game. But it's not just the frame rate that's been improved. Due to the faster frame rate and obviously the shorter frame time, it means that polling intervals and obviously response times are therefore improved, and this improves control and accuracy far more. It means you can now control and get sweet headshots far easier than you did before. Now, I've played all three games on crushing, so I'm looking forward to playing this on the new harder difficulty level available in the Uncharted collection, most likely very appropriately titled Brutal. But on top of that, you've also got an easier mode for new people to the series called Explorer, which allows a nice simple auto lock-on. So that means that you can just shoot people in the face whilst admiring the beauty that is on offer. This game was not remastered by Naughty Dog, unlike The Last of Us Remastered. This was actually handled outside by Bluepoint Games, a team and company that certainly knows how to remaster games better than pretty much everyone else, and they have not let the side down at all here. In fact, they've excelled themselves. The amount of work and effort they have put in, as you saw from my previous Uncharted 1 look, this is just the same with Uncharted 2. They have remapped texture maps, they've redone lighting completely across the board. You can see here in the cinematics with the additional subsurface scattering effect on the nose and ears of Nate here compared to the PS3 version, which is completely different. This was shown on my Uncharted 1 comparison, which you can check it out if you get a chance, but you can see that they've completely redone the lighting model across the range, and this obviously means texture work has been changed as well. And this shot here is a great example of that. You can see the far more natural orange hue from the sun bouncing off them both on their skin tones, the extra detail in Nate's hair, the anisotropy on the hairline of Chloe, and also there is some sacrifices to all this extra detail. As you can see, we've lost the steel sheet in the background, which is a terrible sacrifice, but I think one that you'll all agree was well worth the cost. Obviously, on top of this, you've got the changes to the lighting model. You can see it in Chloe's eyes. The sparkle is now gone, but you can see the improved detail on the tree in the background, obviously the normal maps, the specular reflectance, and it's not just this, it's also on the objects. Just as a quick example, you can see here on the grate of the door as it shuts, it's a completely different texture than it was on the PS3 version. The binoculars now have extra specular and detail added in that wasn't on the PS3 version. And it just shows that Bluepoint have really gone to town on this remaster and spent the time and effort doing more than anyone would have expected them to do. This elevator shot highlights the lighting change beautifully, along with much finer control of video compression. Yes, all cutscenes are still in the game and are still pre-rendered as before. They still jump and start just as quick as they did on PS3. It was actually very impressive. But the compression artifacts, even though if you stare really hard you can see them, it's not going to concern anybody. These are high quality 1080p and 60 frames per second pre-rendered cutscenes that have been redone all the way across the board on all three games by Bluepoint. None of that is going to interfere with your enjoyment of this game, and they've even improved those as well by using the same additional lighting models, additional texture work and shadow resolution improvements. And again, it must be stressed, the lighting model has been completely changed in this game. Now looking at it firsthand, they have made some serious strides on that, and it should not be under-egged, and this is within the game and within the cutscenes. Obviously the texture filtering going from the previous game's trilinear to now a full AF, at least 8 times, but it could even be higher. It's certainly not going to concern you, or at least worry your views when you're staring off into the distance or trying to take down a helicopter. You can see the shadow quality is actually improved even from the EGX demo I played only last week. So they've improved that. Obviously that's an older build, but this is how much things have moved on and how much they're still working and iterating this game. There is going to be a day one patch when the game ships. Whether or not this version here has that day one patch supported in the engine, I don't know, but it certainly looks better than what we saw on the EGX demo, and the quality here is far superior than what you saw on the PS3 version. And mind, that's a 720p game versus a fully native 1080p here, and at twice the frame rate. So these are big increases. This stands out beautifully here when Nate stands underneath the light shade here. You can see the improved detail on his shirt, the additional work on the shadow maps of now much higher quality, and obviously everything just looks so much cleaner. His skin looks better. This is obviously down to the fact that the resolution has now gone from 720 to a fully native 1080. The frame rate is bumped up twice now to 60. They have not pulled any punches with reworking assets and recreating them from scratch. Looking at the previous Uncharted 1 game, you could see some of the changes they had to make by redoing the assets, but it looks like they've carried this across the board, and it certainly pays dividends. The actual depth of field effect looks very similar, but obviously it's a higher quality here because the resolution has improved, and usually when you do that it gets finer, so they've had to improve that quality to compensate for the fact the resolution is now nearly 2.5 times higher level. And there's so much more in this game just to see and to enjoy, but I'm not going to break this down at that level here. This is simply just a quick catch up to give you guys an idea of what it plays like. You can see behind you a comparison of the frame rate between the two. With the previous PS3 release obviously running a 30 FPS engine and most likely triple buffered, you can see when it drops a frame it's aware, and then it drops the next frame in and lets it go straight away on the next 16 millisecond. So you end up with, even if you get a drop frame, you get a jump frame to bring you back in line. And these are so minor. This is why the game was so consistently smooth. It was such a good performer. In this whole demo here, you see him dropping down to 25 in one of the cutscenes when the helicopter crashes. That's it. The PS4 version is a locked 60. It drops 1 frame as we jump from a cutscene back into gameplay, and outside of that it drops a couple of frames at the end of the cutscene as the helicopter spins. Within gameplay, and we're talking heavy hectic gameplay here with lots of physics, wind coming from the helicopter, explosions, AI characters, it holds a rock solid 60 FPS. This is a solid and superb presentation from Bluepoint Games, and it really does do the game and Naughty Dog justice, with certainly delivering one of the most impressive remasters I think I have ever seen. And there's so much more to come. I'm really looking forward to playing this game on a harder level and enjoying all of the options within the game. They've even gone to town on the options within the game. With motion blur being turned on or off at different camera or object level, you can change all of the sound settings to appreciate some of the best sound design and quality in this game, and obviously that stunning soundtrack. And you can hear all of the Nathan Drake quips as you're playing through the game in full Dolby 7.1 surround sound. That's just how it's meant to be played. Anyway, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed this. I'm not going to continue on much longer. There's only going to be a week or so before my fully detailed in-depth analysis comes on this game and all 3 games, and come back soon for more EGX videos and more games to come as I look through this week and on to next of all the big games that are hitting our machines over the Christmas period and beyond. And as Nate would say, oh crap, crap, crap! No, I mean, I'll see you soon on the next one.